All right, this is going to be a look at Aidan Hutchinson and the Lions' chaotic, crazy pass rush against Washington in week 2. The Lions have been an interesting team. They fall behind 31-7 to the Eagles in week 1, roar back and close to within 38-35 and force the Eagles into a 4th and 1, and Jalen Hurts converts it and finishes the game with like a minute and 30 left or something like that. So they lose a close game to an extremely talented, deep Eagles team. And then week 2 against Washington, they dominate the first half. I think they stopped Washington, forced punts on the first 5 possessions, or maybe it was 6, go up big, 24-0, I think, at the half. And then Washington storms back, scores 27 points in the second half. Detroit still wins 36-27, so it's not like it was a last-second win. Going to show you some Aidan Hutchinson film. They got a lot of talent. If you're Ravens fans watching this, there's former Ravens players on that team. Deshaun Elliott, I think, had 6 tackles this week. Chris Board had 4 tackles. Here's Aidan Hutchinson on the left. Also going to talk about Chris Harris, a defensive end who was a first-round pick of Miami in 2017. He plays on the opposite side from Hutchinson, and I really like his pass rush moves. They're stunting Hutchinson inside here on this run play. They have the back on this side, so I guess they're trying to force a keep read by the quarterback if he's reading it. Hutchinson's going to stunt inside and almost overrun it. You can see he gets pissed off at himself for not making the clean tackle on the running back. But, I mean, what are you going to do? It's an NFL running back. They're going to juke people at times. He still gets credit for the tackle. It's a 2-yard loss. This is not a Hutchinson sack. We're going to talk about Hutchinson and then Harris, who, again, was a first-round pick of Miami, I think at pick 17 in 2017. 27-year-old guy. He gets the clean win on the left tackle and the forced fumble here. We'll let it run one more time, full speed. I'm going to talk a little bit about some things I see with Hutchinson and some things I've heard people way, way smarter than me talk about in terms of the angle of your body and how you attack, huge tackles. All right, so you see that Harris has his arms extended and his body is, somewhat tilted forward, but you got that type of angle. Hutchinson tends to be a little bit more face mask first, and the arm's not as much extended. I know that there was some concern about his arm length, but I'm not talking about arm length. I'm talking about the manner in which you use it. And to me, Harris right now seems to be a little bit more technical. Hutchinson is powerful. He's explosive. He's got an incredible motor, and it works to his benefit. I think he, still has some things to clean up a little bit. I'm sure he knows way more about pass rush than I do, but the guys he's dealing with necessitate that his technique be at an extremely high level. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Right now on some of these rushes, you just see a little bit better a little bit more efficient use of technique from Harris than you do out of Hutchinson, even though he had 3 sacks this game. All right, here's Hutchinson from the opposite view, end zone, Hutchinson here. And then here is Harris on the other side. Hutchinson's going to get a win here in terms of a sack, but you can see the way he's attacking. Face mask first, short arms, not necessarily always, running a move where he's using the length of his arms, slapping the tackle's arm away. I haven't seen a ton of those moves. This is, kind of typical for Hutchinson. You get a little bit of a bull rush and then him trying to swim off the guy. He does get a sack. Certainly not saying it's not impressive, just illustrating you the difference between some of the things he's doing and Harris. Watch the arm movement that you get from Harris, right? And the attempt to slap while keeping his chest away versus Hutchinson, how he's leaning into it right now. He's leaning into the tackle right now, face mask first. You got chest and face mask back, his arms extended. Not saying that he's doing everything perfect, just illustrating to you the difference between those two guys, even though this Lions pass rush was obviously effective. Hutchinson had 3 sacks. The Lions had 5 overall. And again, they stopped Washington on the first 5 or 6 possessions. They're next to each other, so kind of lets you know something is up. Clean stunt to the inside by Hutchinson, unblocked, gets the sack. Really poor job by Washington, if you ask me, not recognizing that you've got, one defensive end here, what to me looks like a nose tackling, like a 2-eye. So it becomes obvious to me that he's trying to pull that center that way, and you have the possibility that one of these guys is going to loop around to the other A-gap, or theoretically you could have, a linebacker or a safety or another linebacker fill that A-gap as well. So the right guard, in my opinion, once he sees the outside rush by the tackle, needs to look for work. He's a little bit overcommitted, if you ask me. Hutchinson's motor and explosiveness and get off, help them in that regard. Couple more plays. Again, here you have Harris. and Hutchinson lined up off the defense's right side. Same stunt or very similar. This time, Washington picks it up, and a D tackle from the other side gets a sack. Look, we're not discounting any of Aidan Hutchinson's sacks because a lot of sacks are like this. They're unsettled, okay? It's not a clear win initially by the defensive lineman. It's a second effort or even a third effort to get the sack. We're going to go over this other end on the other side, 99. Watch what Detroit does with this linebacker and then this defensive end stemming inside to the B gap. Same time that they have Hutchinson working that stunt, and the center this time is stepping to him. So the center takes care of Hutchinson. But when this defensive end goes through the B gap, look, the center got Hutchinson locked up. That same guard who was so focused on the right defensive end for the defense the last time now is almost letting that D end run by him, misses the first sack, and then finishes it up. Last one, Hutchinson down here on the right. Going to get kind of a cheap sack, to be honest with you, but hey, all sacks count. That's not a real phrase I ascribe to. Like, if you hit a single in Major League Baseball, it's a single. You hit a 3-pointer in the NBA, it counts. And to me, this counts. Even though it doesn't look like a win, he's certainly getting. It looks to me like as if he's getting expanded this way. I'm not sure what his rush lane was supposed to be, but that guard definitely seems to impede his path. Maybe Hutchinson is jumping to the outside. They're blitzing Chris Board up the middle. He gets cut by the running back, but it at least causes havoc or pressure directly in Wentz's face, so he's got to step up. Hutchinson spins off, goes and finishes the play. Much better performance by Hutchinson statistically than week one. Not saying he didn't play well in week one, but he only had one tackle in that loss to the Eagles. This game, for whatever reason, it seemed like the Lions' pass rush was relentless. Multiple different pressures. Love the way they're doing stuff. Haven't watched, I didn't watch the whole game. I just got to end zone angle of like 16 plays and then decided to carve out these 6 or 8 to show you guys. Let me know what you think of Aidan Hutchinson's play against Washington in this video. Let me know what you think of my breakdown, how I was comparing his approach to Harris's, who again has been in the league a little bit longer. Is 27 years old, had more years of NFL coaching. Do I think Aidan Hutchinson is going to be an elite player? Absolutely. I'm kind of enamored with him and Trayvon Walker being 1 and 2. I hope they both have Hall of Fame careers. I intend to do film studies on both of those guys pretty much every week because I think it's worthwhile looking at because I would say they're more defensive ends than 3-4 outside linebackers, even though Trayvon Walker is going to be asked to fill that role at times with Jacksonville. Appreciate you guys checking the video out. If this is your first video watching on my channel, please consider subscribing. If you really enjoy this content, please consider sharing it on social media to help this video gain more exposure and reach.